The sound of the impact was enough to frighten the small animals on Nedris Rosegrove's farm. The chickens and ducks began to frantically cluck and clack while the sheep and goats headed for the barn near the edge of her field. The aftershock, or the tremors, are what actually startled Nedris. The ground shook as if Gorham himself had laid a hand upon Avestan, and this scared her. She took the time to corral her animals into the barn before setting herself into the saddle of her fastest pony, Biddybolt, and setting off in the direction of the crash. She needed to find out what happened and what it meant for her farm and her barnyard friends. Biddybolt took off down the road with all the speed it could muster, and before she knew it, Nedris herself was standing at the edge of the massive crater, easily 2 or 3 times the size of her farm, and at the center of it sat a large ball of what appeared to be just metal. She slowly climbed down the steep sides toward the ball and noticed the mercurial nature of the outer shell. It could be a trick of the light, or perhaps the metal was actually shifting. With a furrowed brow, she cautiously approached the object, watching the metal twist and swirl. It wasn't so much shifting as it was writhing, struggling perhaps. Nedris rose a hand, which quickly morphed into a claw, and she poked the husk. Immediately the shimmering metal dispersed and solidified, changing its shape to mimic a cube with defined sides, and the metal seemed to get denser as a reaction to her claw. She attempted to press it in further, and when that didn't work, she tried to scrape off a sample for further investigation. Perhaps one of the local lore masters or wizards could assist her with that, but the object wouldn't budge or scrape. She sighed and took a step back, allowing her hand to reform from the claw, and the box stayed the same. With a thought, she stepped forward again, forcing her hand back into the same claw, and tried to puncture the outside of the metal by driving her sharp nails into it. The metal again shimmered and began to give way, almost stretching to accommodate her nails, but she could not puncture it. Stepping away again, she let her hand return to normal as it dropped to her side. She shrugged to herself and turned to scramble up the sides of the crater back to Biddybolt. Maybe Muriel the wizard could tell her more. Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Pathfinder 2nd Edition and the lore that surrounds them.
Hello. Wait, it's mine.
I forgot that you start. Yeah.
No, I did this one. Hello there, creatures. We're recording 2 episodes today. Welcome to another episode of Encounter This, Pathfinder 2nd Edition. We are going through a new creature today known as the Hadrinnex, I think is how you say it. But before before we get into that, I've of course need to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Freeman Energy Ray Eyston. And today, the Hadrinnex will be presented to you by none other than my co-host, James from the Sky Kid. Follow along on Bestiary number 3, page 127. James, what do we got?
This, I don't know how long this episode's going to be. Normally, I got a pretty good feel for it, but there's not a whole lot out there. This is definitely like a 2E singular creature. I couldn't even find anything tangentially related.
Something new?
Something really new and really interesting, I think. So the homebrew section or the dialogue about the mechanics might be might take a little bit longer than usual, which is great.
Okay,
so
cool. I could honestly say I have no idea what this creature is. Never heard of it. No idea what it looks like. Not a clue.
Yeah. Well, let's just jump right into it then. So the Hadrinnex, let's just pull up the one picture because it only exists in 2E.
Okay.
Looks like this.
What the hell is that?
Yeah. For audio listeners, it's like a beam of light encased in stone with like 8 spider-like eyes. It is real weird.
It is. It evokes like the imagery of it being made of magma, or some such. But now that you said it's light inside stone, I can see that. My first thought though was this was some sort of fire creature. Wow, that is wild looking. This is all these cracks and crevices, and its arms are like blades. It looks like it almost has a thumb there.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what's going on.
No, it is really complicated to describe vocally, which is why it's great that we have our Instagram, which you can find over at Instagram.com/unchartedknow. You'll be able to see a picture of this. It's humanoid. It stands on 2 feet. Like I said, it's got spider-like eyes on the top in front of its head. It's got multiple eyes.
Yeah.
And it has this metal armor-like husk or an outer shell, which is splintered through its body, presumably for movement, and it glows from the gaps between these pieces.
Mm.
But the glow actually comes from the creature's thorax, in an organ called an energy gland.
Okay.
Which you can kind of see, like, if you look really, really close to the bottom of the chest where the chest meets the hips, the light looks a little bit brighter there.
Yeah, it looks like it's like casting like a god ray out of its stomach kind of thing. A real small one.
Yeah. So the premise behind this creature is that it collects energy and restructures its own biology to protect from that specific energy. The organ is incredibly fragile and known to fracture after a Hadrinnex is killed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So these resemble defensive systems more than living creatures. They evolve at a very rapid rate, like a shapeshifter, but only versus what attacks them. And they are thought to have been created through advanced technology or magic rather than like evolved or birthed.
Okay. I'm trying to run through my head what traits this creature's going to have. I'm not looking ahead. I'm kind of
it's weird.
Wondering. Before we go into the mechanics, let me try and guess, but keep going.
Okay. So they have a primal intellect, but very poor problem solving and improvisational abilities. So they usually follow smarter aberrations as bodyguards or general minions. There's a pretty big hint for you.
Well, I was already leaning that direction.
Yeah, I figured you would be. Yeah,
when you said possibly created by advanced technology.
Yeah. So they perform simple tasks very diligently, and their adaptive physiology makes them prime for dangerous environments. So if you need something mined in that, let's say, like a lava field, like these creatures can rapidly evolve to protect themselves from such energy.
That's really neat.
And they can be found hibernating in remote areas, which is kind of what I was getting with today's intro. So hopefully that came across. And these husks are shaped into pods, usually found at the center of the crater, like, again, in today's intro.
Right. Okay.
This leads us to believe that they originally fell from the sky. And leaving that hibernation takes 2 months to extrude limbs and restart processes. So again, we're getting to more of like a technological aspect here.
Okay.
That being said, this can be jump-started with a daily dose of energy to its energy gland. So if it falls in like a very cold environment and the wind blows cold air into its energy gland, it can start that process faster and faster.
Interesting. Or if it falls into a lava pit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's energy in there. That's pretty wild. But I mean, this really like kind of evokes this idea that they might be quite invulnerable in the right circumstances. Like, you know, that's a lot of extremeness to quickly adapt to.
Yeah. From what I read from their stat block, which we'll go over very soon here, they are pretty deadly. I would not want to face one of these creatures because as a player, I think it would be incredibly frustrating.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Neat. Anything else?
So that's it for the Pathfinder.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. So that moves us on
real simple here on Encounter This.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. So probably fell from the sky, quickly adapt, serve as bodyguards or general minions. Okay. And will perform simple tasks diligently. So, I mean, it makes me feel like they're not very intelligent either. If they're so easy to just follow orders and whatnot, and just do like mundane stuff. But I mean, aberration is definitely top of the list there for traits. I wonder if they have the light trait, or even elemental. Though I feel like elemental is a bit of a stretch, but it just kind of gives me the vibes from the adaptability, based on the energy. But yeah, I'm going with aberration and possibly light traits.
Okay. Those are really good guesses. Based on the artwork, that's what I would have guessed as well.
Yeah.
But just for consistency's sake, we're going to dip into mythology and folklore.
Okay.
There is nothing here from our world. These are, like I said, a completely unique creature, but that's to help me with timestamps and to keep it consistent. So we're just going to move straight into the mechanics.
Start writing your own modern folklore, listeners, so we have something to dip back into later on.
There we go. All right. Mechanics. Less than 10 minutes in.
Woohoo! Here we go.
That might be a new record. You got one of two. They're aberration and uncommon are the traits.
Okay. All right. Uncommon. Uncommon doesn't really count.
It's kind of a cop out. Yeah.
Yeah. That really just affects the recall knowledge DC generally, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's reflected here. So they're a CR8 with 27 AC, 118 HP. They are large, neutral, evil, and like we said, aberration, uncommon.
Okay. Neutral evil seems odd.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
I guess probably because they're not from around here. I don't know.
Static aberration alignment. This is why they're doing away with it. And the okay, and I didn't expect them to be large. I mean, I just felt they were going to be like kind of a larger but human size. But okay, large I'll take.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I'll be honest with you. None of this stat block really, like, normally when I go through a stat block, there's some linear things that, it hits the beats and it all kind of makes sense. Nothing here. Like it was all it all kind of made sense, but also very out of left field.
Does this give you the vibe of like this is a last minute filler creature for the book or something?
Well, so I think this is probably a creature designed for an adventure path, like Fallen Stars. Is that what it was called when the robots fell to Earth?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it's definitely like science fantasy creature as opposed to like mid or low or high fantasy. Like this is definitely on the very edge of. Gotcha. I wouldn't even call this a fantasy creature. This feels left over from Starfinder. Like it doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't really jive with anything we've touched or played. Like it's so outside of high fantasy, or even.
So you would probably, if you were to see this creature right at the gate, maybe you would place it in like Numeria, where the starship stuff did fall, and that's where the technology is from space, and it's very, it's kept very, close to the chest by, I think it's the Technic League or something like that.
Yeah, or the mana wastes. I think this creature could play with.
Sure.
Anywhere there's like large swaths of dangerous land, it could work in. But this creature, when I'm playing a fantasy game, I'm sure we've talked about it before. This creature is on the outside. As somebody who sat down to play a fantasy game, I would be upset if this creature showed up. Just like for the same reason that I don't want gunslingers anywhere near my fantasy.
Right. Yeah.
It just
all right. Well, let's
flow with that kind of world.
Dive more into it, and I'll see whether or not I agree much on that point.
So 17 perception, and the recall knowledge is aberration, occultism for DC 26. Unspecified is 24 and specific is 21, so those DCs are a little bit higher. Their speed is 40, which blew me away. Didn't expect that.
Yeah, that's fast.
Languages are Aklo and telepathy via touch.
Oh, interesting. Aklo lining up with aberration alien. Telepathy at touch is an odd choice, but okay.
Yep. They have dark vision, which is one of the few things that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Their ability scores kind of make sense. They've got a 6 strength, a 6 con, a 4 dex, a 3 wisdom, and then a -3 for intelligence and charisma. Their skills make no sense to me at all. They've got a 16 acrobatics, an 18 athletics, which do make sense. But then they've got an 11 occultism, as if they're going to recall knowledge.
Right. So, I mean, I called it on the intelligence. Kind of neat to see that it's also there in the charisma. Occultism, I'm reasonably sure, is an intelligence-based recall knowledge, not one of the wisdom ones.
It is, yeah.
So that is an odd choice. Also, again, feels like cookie cutter aberration choice.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I mean, maybe kind of like Aklo. It's like, okay, yeah, it's aberration, it's alien, so it speaks Aklo and it's got some knowledge of the occult. Call it a day.
Yeah,
I'm just making the assumption that it was a lazy choice. Yeah, acrobatics and athletics is fine. You know,
those always make sense.
Even intimidation with a -3 charisma would make more sense because it's big and it's intimidating. You know, at least give it a chance to like scare you a bit. But yeah, it seems odd.
Yeah, the occultism was definitely an odd one for me as well. Their saves make sense. They've got an 18 fortitude, 14 reflex, 17 will.
Okay.
And they've got DR, energy 15, and physical 15. And those are dependent on a reaction called rapid evolution.
Okay.
So this is this creature's whole thing. So we're going to start with our reaction, which is not something we normally do.
Okay.
So
yeah, cool.
This reaction has the morph, occult, and transmutation traits.
Mm-hmm.
The trigger is whenever you take damage of physical or energy type. So any physical, any energy type.
Okay. Sure.
So if it takes physical damage, it reconfigures its husk, that outer shell. If it takes energy damage, it reconfigures its energy gland.
Mm-hmm.
So if it takes piercing damage, as a reaction, it gains 15 resistance to piercing. And that DR applies to all attacks until it uses the rapid evolution reaction again.
So the trigger here is takes damage. So it's not getting this resistance to the triggering damage. It's after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. The energy gland defaults to sonic. But when the energy gland changes, it's one of its attacks. The energy ray changes to the same type. So again, that will default to sonic.
Okay.
When the husk changes, the physical damage, so does the damage type. And it adds a default. So bludgeoning adds the shove trait. Piercing adds the deadly D8 trait. And slashing adds the sweep trait. This defaults to bludgeoning.
Okay.
So that's why it's got
I'm following you.
That weird saber arm.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So that changes its shape for its own physical damage that it's dealing.
Yeah. So if it takes piercing damage, it immediately becomes it gets a GR 15 piercing, and its physical attacks then do piercing.
Okay.
And if it uses this rapid revolution trait. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
So as far as I'm able to tell, its husk and energy gland can be configured differently at the same time. So if it uses rapid evolution on its husk, it can change its husk, and then as the next round, it can use its rapid evolution on its energy gland to change its energy type.
Okay. So you said they have defaults though. So it is starting with physical and energy resistance. It's starting the combat with sonic and bludgeoning straight up. 15.
Well, it doesn't have to, but those are this creature's defaults. Like if you want to set it up as a GM to whatever you want, I don't see why you wouldn't preset that.
Sure.
up.
So you start with those defaults and then you adjust the types as it uses this reaction.
Yeah. Best guess to those reasons are Sonic isn't really defended against in most places, but
it's pretty rare.
Thematically, I would say it defaults to Sonic and bludgeoning because it pierced the sound barrier on its way into the planet and it hit the planet. So default to bludgeon.
Why not?
That's how I justify it in my head. Funny. I'm sure Paizo just. This is one of those things where I think I just made an excuse for it, and I think Paizo
I love it.
Just defaulted to it.
What's it like walking in my shoes?
So they have a couple of attacks. They've got a 1-action melee, which is their weapon arm.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. 25, 15, 10 to hit, 10-foot reach, 2d8 plus 9 physical, and then whatever rapid evolution trait it has will be that damage type. It has a 2-action melee attack called Extend Limbs. It makes 2 arm strikes. They must be against different creatures, but its range increases from 10 feet to 20 feet.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it has 2 ranged attacks. The first one is a single action. It's called Energy Ray. 18, 3, and 8 to hit. This has the Evocation and Occult traits. It is 120 feet range, and it is 5d6 energy damage. Again, see the rapid evolution.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's fire, it will be fire.
Yep.
And its next ranged attack is also a single action. It's not really a ranged. It's a 30-foot cone. Again, Evocation and Occult. It's a DC 26 basic reflex save, or take 7d6 energy damage.
Okay. Oof.
There's a secondary option for this vent energy. What you can choose to do instead of the 7d6 in a cone is add 2d6 energy damage to the weapon arm. This lasts for 1 minute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That being said, either choice makes the energy gland dormant and the creature loses its damage resistant until it uses rapid evolution to reconfigure the gland using the weapon arm variant. Removes and previous energy boost to weapon arms. So,
okay, so it's blasting this energy out and then losing its DR energy DR until the reaction comes in again.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. This is interesting. So this is I'm with you. This is a scary creature. It could really mess you up if you know nothing about this and cannot get a recall knowledge off. This thing would be very difficult to figure out how it works. It would be up to the GM to really, create a visualization of it transforming its body to give you an idea of what's changed. For energy, like I would say, do something like, make sure you give it like a color of some kind, or it evokes some sort of energy, like, it glows with a fiery orange or some such. And then the physical one, I mean, that's a little bit tougher, I guess, but
it is, but you could just shape the weapon into general, shapes. It becomes a point, it becomes an axe, it becomes I don't know, a hammer like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean that the
you as a
physical
GM
attack side is but the physical DR side's a little bit tough to describe, but people might, eventually they'll pick up, if it's got a piercing weapon, it's they'll pick up pretty quick on that. It must be immune or resistant to the piercing damage.
Yeah.
But like
it puts a lot of work on the GM's plate.
Yeah. This one you'd have to be really prepared for, because I would highly recommend that you don't ever opt to not use the reaction. I think the GM should use it every single time, to give the players a chance to realize that every time we hit it, it's going to change, and that means the next thing we do has to be different. And that's really the only way to defeat this creature is to play that through that cycle of different options, which really stands out as one of the biggest things you need to remember. Have a wide spread in your repertoire. Do not just focus on one or two things. You need options, and don't just rely on your party members to have all the other options for you. Like, everyone should have options. James learned that the hard way once as well. And on something as simple as
who I specifically went out of the way to make sure they had piercing, slashing, bludgeoning, and ranged.
Yeah.
So
James learned a lesson on something as simple as simply having more than just a melee attack. You know, it was a tough lesson learned, but this thing has got a hell of an action economy though, because it can extend limbs. It just like bam, bam. Oh, I hit my mic. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. Bam, bam. Get all excited. From 20 feet away, and then just blast an energy ray all in the same turn. Like that's
right.
That's
so to me, I would go differently. I would first action vent energy to give it the weapon energy, that extra 2d6, and then extend limbs. So you've got 2d8 plus 9 plus 2d6 energy each attack. But you're vulnerable to energy for the next round. But, you know, you just reaction at the top of next round.
And then you're good again, And that you're never really going to be hyper reliant on the energy resistance and the physical resistance if the players are swapping up their tactics each time. So it's not it's something to just use. I picture this creature using it all the time because it's got low intelligence, but it's got a reasonable wisdom. So it's like, it's not really thinking about it. It's acting on instinct. The instinct is defend against whatever hit me last. That's it. Just go, go, go. So I think expending that, venting that energy is like a totally viable tactic. And it's a smart thing to do. Even get rid of your energy resistance to really amp up the damage you're doing. Like I'm with you. Like I would do that too. But like if everyone's like at a pretty far distance, you know, or there's like a couple of people close, but there's a couple of people that have, you know, the casters are staying in the back. You know, that's when I would extend limbs in the energy dray. But once they're getting in a little bit closer, if they're all getting in a little bit closer, then I'm going to vent that either in a cone to catch them all, or I'm going to do what you said, and I'm going to put them on my weapons and then extend limbs. And then from there, sure, it's lasts for 1 minute.
It lasts for 1 minute until you use the reaction for energy again.
So if you really want, you can just keep that rolling, especially if the party doesn't have. If you want to be real nasty, if the party does not have the range of attacks that they need to defeat this thing, you can just vent that into your limbs and just extend limbs energy ray, and keep your distance and really fuck them up. That would be brutal.
Yeah. Well, so you wouldn't be able to use the energy ray until you use the reaction again, because this creature loses it to DR.
Oh, because it's okay.
So
loses the DR, so it loses the attack as well.
Yeah, exactly. So once you vent energy, the energy ray is gone, essentially, as is your DR. Or at least that's how I understand this being read.
In that case, I would say that if kind of play it like this, always use the reaction unless the whole party gets up on your goodies. And then I would say it's okay to vent the energy. And what you do to vent it would depend on, are they all coming at you from one side? Cone. Are they coming at you from multiple sides? Vent energy into the weapon arms. And just start going, you know, melee. Just kind of hone in on it. But if they are spreading themselves out and doing a really good job of like keeping themselves across the battlefield and using different things, just keep using that reaction to make it a really spicy, like flavorful encounter.
Yep, I agree completely. I think you really nailed how to use this creature. It is a very complicated creature, like mechanically, but as a GM, if you know what's going to happen, like you know your party and stuff like that, you can simplify these encounters pretty quickly. Yeah.
Pick a strategy for how the players are reacting to it, and maybe stick with that. And maybe that strategy is going to cause them to turn tail and flee, and that's fine. That's okay. Sometimes you got to do that. But that's what I would do, is like understand the creature, but pick a strategy based on how they're operating. Be ready to change up the strategy, but you're going to have enough on your plate swapping those things all the time. So don't get too crazy with it.
Yeah. Well,
this is not a big boss, right? This is not a big boss. This is
no. These are minions, and that's why I wanted to get into homebrews, because this could get substantially more complicated for any GMs out there.
Sure. All right, let's do it.
So if you are a GM and you are running these things, rules is written. They are minions. the reason I would want to keep this simple and streamlined and know your party ahead of time and have a pretty good, 1-2 tactic like Freeman presented earlier is because chances are you're going to be playing this with something else. Because of that low intelligence, they're in the stat block, it is said they're known to follow other beings as general minions or bodyguards, and they perform simple tasks like execute is a pretty simple task. So I wonder, I don't have an answer for this just because I'm still not really immersed in Pathfinder creatures, but I wonder what kind of creature would these things differ to. Like anything with real power or intelligence is my best guess, which leads me to things like spellcasters.
Yeah.
And if you have this, one or two of these things, and a spellcaster, you can really hurt your party, whether that spellcaster is a controller, a buff, or a debuff. Things can get very, very difficult. In my mind, I love the idea of pairing this thing with 3 castings of a dimension door and just free movement around the battlefield.
Yeah.
Or even with something like a witch, something high intelligence to be able to control the creature thematically. And the debuff spell list could just get really, really dangerous. So
yeah,
I would be careful about what you pair these creatures with and how you play them, because I don't see an easy way or a quick weakness to defeating these things other than scouting and making sure you hit those recall knowledges. But DC-26, it's not a gimme. It's definitely not a gimme for occultism. And 24 is not a gimme for unspecified. So
no, not at all. I have a hard time imagining what this serves as well. Like, I'm with you on that. This feels like a leftover Starfinder creature. It really, really does. It feels like you would just, this is one of those like kind of random, harsh environment planet encounters,
every time I look at the image from this thing, I don't know what it is, but I think a Heavy Metal 2000. Every time I look at it, that's all I can think of. Is like the grim, dark future.
Yeah. I'm kind of stretching it a bit here. Like, I feel like maybe you could get away with a type of hag that this thing serves. I know they've done a couple interesting ones over the last couple of years. One even being a rust hag. So that gives like a different kind of imagery than your classic sort of green hag or what have you. But even that, can't manage to convince myself of that so much. Maybe a worm that walks cultist. No, I don't even really believe that so much. But what I want to think is illithids. I want to think mind flayers.
Oh, right.
They don't exist in this,
No.
Maybe aboliths, I guess. But like, it still doesn't feel right because these do feel like an alien less than like, the other aberrations do. They feel like something that actually came from outer space in a way.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
In a way that like only clockwork beings feel. Like they really have that alien feel, and that's why like the Agalothu family tree is kind of the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah.
But again, that doesn't really fit to me. Like in my head, these things are like servants of Vesk. Like they're scouts for the Vesk military or something on like hostile planets.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what, like, I think of that sort of thing as well. Like something this big bulky creature that serves something that's like a culture that's kind of militant, or like a militant culture has taken advantage and found these things and taken advantage of them and does their best to use them as, just like grunt work or, terraforming operations or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe it's because I've been watching season 3 of The Mandalorian. I've spoilers for a subplot, but they're looking for a droid to go into a hostile environment, and this screams that to me.
Yeah. So I think we're missing what this thing is likely to serve, which is kind of annoying.
And I couldn't find any adventure paths that they're in either, so it makes me think they might be. Not like maybe like an Easter egg for an upcoming adventure path.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Mm.
This is why we have things like our email address and our Discord, so our listeners can help us out.
Someone message us if you got an idea. Like, I just don't think the Aboleth and the Algol Thu kind of fit. I think their own thing doesn't fit using these creatures, and I think we're beyond them. We're kind of missing another sort of family of aberrant, intelligent beings to kind of fill this role. So.
I agree. Like you said, the Mind Flayers from 5e or even the Yugoloth family tree from 5e kind of makes a lot of sense with these, but maybe it's just because we're so new to Pathfinder 2e that we're just not picking it up.
Yeah, maybe
somebody's got to know
something we just haven't come across yet. But yeah, I mean, I don't see myself using this creature with anything I have, planned for the future. I think it could make a really cool encounter. I do, but I don't know much about Numeria, but I think that's where my brain is kind of stuck with it right now. It's like you just find a random one out, in the wilderness there as you're trying to, or like maybe if you get into one of those like the crest starships or something, you find one lurking around or inside. But maybe this is just better suited for when the Starfinder 2e compatible content comes out. And you dip your toes into the more sci-fi kind of stuff. With everything being cross-compatible, this might be a really, really good option to kind of just put in the back pocket and bring out later on.
Oh, is that the game plan? The Starfinder?
Okay. They're releasing second edition, and it's all the classes are going to be cross-compatible between both the games. So you can.
Oh, I hate that.
You can theoretically play the soldier class in Pathfinder, and just use what weapons are available in Pathfinder, but you can also bring the wizard into the future Starfinder kind of thing. Obviously, that's just the class mechanic compatibility, not here's machine guns. That is always going to be at the end of the day up to the GM but I'm pretty sure they're keeping the lore intact where the gap happened and all that stuff. So. Yeah, it's just that you can now play a rogue in Starfinder, and you can play probably an envoy in Pathfinder, which I think is kind of neat. And it's definitely a move.
That makes sense. Yeah. And Starfinder 1 needed a huge overhaul. It was not a good game mechanically.
Oh, which reminds me too. The reason why I'm so with you, I think one of the main reasons I'm so with you on the Starfinder thing for this creature is because it evokes the kinetic and energy damage thing so hard. That's what Starfinder is all about. Like everything is so focused on your kinetic and your energy ACs in 1E anyway. Who remains to see what's going to happen in 2E, but I assume they're going to change it quite a bit. But yeah, that kinetic and energy stuff happening all the time. Like you get firearms and weapons that are doing both. So if you're swinging one of those big vest, I forget what they're called now, the big vest weapons, and it's like dealing slashing and fire energy damage at the same time. That reaction is going to change for both things at the same time, which is really cool. And it makes it that much more compatible with the Starfinder kind of idea and like sort of philosophy in the mechanics and the design. So yeah, Starfinder creature, Hadrinnex,
hiding in the bestiary.
I think we've confirmed it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. I have no interest in playing most science fantasy RPGs. It's why I was never really into Starfinder. I think Starfinder had more to do with the lore and the mechanics. Not that the lore is bad. It's just not what I wanted out of I wanted sci-fi, and they were very clearly had no interest in giving that to me.
Oh, it was science fantasy, hard mixed together. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Star Wars, which is, fine. Star Wars is fine. It's enjoyable for the most part. I like Star Wars because it's a Western, not because it's science fantasy.
Yeah.
I think I like it in spite of it being science fantasy.
I mean, it's pretty light on the fantasy. You've got the Force, and it is pretty central to the whole thing, but it's not like they're not shooting fireballs from their hands, and they're not like, I mean, sure, you get a little dominating the mind and a little bit of pushing back, like telekinetic kind of stuff. But like it doesn't hit fantasy quite as hard as like Pathfinder or D&D does, like not even close.
Right? No, I agree. Yeah.
I'd say it's more than dipped its toes in the fantasy side, but it hasn't gone, for the dive. Not at all.
I would say the mainline Star Wars stuff does. It's all based on space magic.
Space magic.
But the EU definitely dragged it into more of a sci-fi realm.
Yeah. But, I mean, some of the EU stuff really pushed the fantasy as well. With like Sith sorcery and all that kind of stuff. So Star Wars. Who needs to say it? But I mean, it's all over the place.
yeah. There's literally something.
It's every direction all at once. Yeah. Let's be real. What are we even arguing about?
I don't know.
We're both wrong and right at the same time. Star Wars.
I don't even know. Yeah. That's fair. I'll stick with my Star Treks. There's your hot take for the day. If you can figure out what this creature's purpose is, or where it fits in Pathfinder, or where it fits in your Pathfinder world, we absolutely want to hear about it. You can shoot us an email at info@unchartednorth.com. You can find all of our links on our website at unchartednorth.com or .ca. You can hit us up on our Discord, unchartednorth.com/Discord. We'll get you a link directly in there, and you can drop us a line and let us know exactly what's going on there. You can shoot us a DM on the socials. Our boy Scott will get those on Instagram, Facebook. I think we still have, and X, or whatever we're calling that now until they change the name again.
Twixter.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, by the time this episode releases, its name could have changed again. But if you're on the video one, you can see all of our social scrolling down there. If you're on audio, you can find links in the description below, including to this YouTube channel where we release episodes every other Thursday, just like the audio, same premiere. I got nothing else. Oh yeah, Patreon. If you want to shoot us some money, if you like this.
You got some
$5
spare
a month gets you.
We can use it.
It does help. Yeah, $5 a month will get you a handwritten thank you letter and some other goodies. And for $10 a month, you can suggest a creature. I think our last episode was a creature, Skull Taker.
Skull Taker. Yeah,
was a Patreon request. So if you want your name in the history books all over the YouTubes and the audio podcasts, it'll only cost you $10 a month, which is pretty cheap for the amount of work some of these folks have made us do with like the Knoll suite and stuff like that, or the Golem suite. So yeah, if you like it, and if you could tell a friend, because we thrive on word of mouth. We don't do any advertisements. Any ads you see during the show are YouTube specific ads, and we have not said that that's okay. There are no ads in our audio feed, and we never have any intention of throwing ads in there. We believe this content should be free, and if we are going to survive, it should be on our merit alone and how much you value that merit as an audience. So
I mean,
thank you for
how could we ethically
watching.
Charge for showing how much we don't know? It just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, Fox News does it all the time. Okay, before I get us canceled, we will see you in 2 weeks with episode 110, whatever that's going to be.
Can pretty much guarantee is going to be longer than this one.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. This one's coming in at just shy of 45, so
that's the dream, isn't it?
Turned into an app.
And we barely talked about the creature.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, thanks friends.
Listeners.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Until next time, creatures, thanks, as always, for listening to Encounter This.